Hey teachers! In our last video we looked at how we can connect with other teachers, and the theme of connection also plays a big part in today's video. How well do your learners get on with each other? Are they happy to work with everyone in the class? For many young learner teachers, managing how students work together can be tricky. There are usually some students that don't get on for whatever reason, and they might be reluctant to work together. So in this video, we'll be exploring classroom dynamics. ELT jargon can be a bit confusing at times, and the word dynamics can be one example. Sometimes we use this term to talk about interaction patterns that we use in the classroom, for example, pair work and group work versus whole class activities. The word dynamic itself can confuse us because when we think of dynamic activities, we often imagine lively or active games. But actually, classroom dynamics really refers to the way the people in the classroom interact with each other. Why is this important? Well, it's all about creating that supportive and inclusive environment where students can thrive. So let's get started. Classroom dynamics play a crucial role in shaping the learning experience for our students. When we cultivate a positive and engaging atmosphere, it sets the stage for meaningful connections and effective communication, which in turn lead to an environment where learning can take place. But we must remember that classroom dynamics isn't only student-to-student relationships. We are also part of this dynamic. Let's explore some practical tips to foster those positive dynamics. The first tip is to show interest in your students. Treat them as real people with lives outside the classroom. I mean, they are people, right? Try to remember details about their lives, such as their hobbies and interests. Ask them questions about what they did at the weekend or about the result of their recent football match. When you do this, you're acting as a model for students and encouraging them to take an interest in each other. Also, allow them to get to know you. Share a little bit about your own interests and life outside school with your students. You're a human too, and don't let them forget it. The next tip is to encourage collaboration and cooperation. We want to foster a culture where students support and help each other. To do this, we can plan collaborative activities, group projects, and opportunities for students to share and learn from each other. You can also find some ideas for cooperative learning routines that help younger learners work together in this video. Finally, it might be time to rethink the power dynamics in your classroom. Who's in charge? Do the students have a say in what happens? How do you appear to your students? Are you someone that they can talk to and negotiate with, and someone they can trust? Or are you a big scary monster that's always telling them what to do, who doesn't accept any suggestions or requests from the class? And if you are the second one, what can you do to change this power dynamic to make your relationship with students more democratic and give your students a voice? I used to be a bit like that scary monster, except I was never scary in the slightest. Being a petite woman with this voice, I could never really be scary, even if I wanted to. But I wasn't always a very democratic teacher, and I didn't always take my students' differences in opinion or preferences into account, especially as an early career teacher. But gradually I started to feel more comfortable in the young learner classroom, and I started providing students with more opportunities to have a say by offering them choices and being more flexible whilst also trying to make sure that the classroom was a safe and supportive place for everyone. And for this, I needed to make sure that we had a set of rules and expectations, but that these were decided together rather than having a set of rules imposed on students. This can be a great activity to do in the first lesson of the academic year. A typical activity is the collaborative classroom rules poster or class contract. But here's an idea. After deciding on the rules and expectations together, allow each group to choose a different format for how they want to showcase these rules. They could make a class book, a comic, a video, an audio as a kind of podcast, an infographic, and so on. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to come back next week for the next video in the series Be Your Best Teacher Self.